the screen that I see right here. You guys were with us in Wisconsin. I'm so glad you guys made it to this Zoom because we're here to celebrate and to enjoy this victorious win that we just got, and a lot of other wins that we made over the weekend. It's actually some really cool things happening. So we're excited to share with you. And Ben's already got the recording, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and you guys can let me know if you guys can see it. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Are we seeing things? Yep, perfect. We're doing slideshow mode. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. This is our monthly community meeting. We host these every single month, and it's the best way that we get to stay in touch with each other, where we got to give lots of org-wide updates on what's going on. And so this is April. Our focus is on field work because we had some pretty big trips that happened this weekend, and we want to share that with you guys. So thank you guys so much for being here on a 5 p.m. on a Thursday night. I know from my home in Seattle, it looks so beautiful outside that I want to take a walk. So I thank you guys so much for sitting down and joining us in this Zoom. All right. And just to cover today's agenda, we've got some stuff to go over with analysis, some fun shout outs and stories. And so we're going to go through what today's agenda looks like. The very first thing that we're going to share is actually something that is happening in a couple days from now on Saturday. And I'm sure many of you guys have already heard about it. But Come Empower will be going to the hands-off protests that are happening, and MJ is going to come on and speak a little bit about that. But we're going to talk about those protests, the ones that are happening nationally that we want you guys to join. And then we're going to go through what's hot at CP. And so we have a long list of things happening every single week, from Action Academy to the Institute to Fieldwork. There are always things happening. And so we're going to go over quickly what's on the calendar this next couple of weeks. And then finally, we're going to get into a little bit of an analysis of all the things that were happening this weekend. And so I know you guys have probably already saw, but this weekend we proved that democracy cannot be bought. And we're going to be talking about Wisconsin and Florida and some other things that have been happening all around the country. And so we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about our teams that are out there, our incredible team leads who are on the ground leading our volunteers, and also some of the outcomes. And then lastly, we're going to talk about what's next for CP. What are the next trips that are going on, and what are the next things that you can join in on? Okay, and I'm actually going to hand off this first part to MJ, who is in charge of all of our Seattle protests, our Seattle community gatherings here. And so, MJ, if you're there, I would love if you could unmute.
I am. This is so exciting. Can everyone hear me? I apologize. I am in a car, right? Moving car. It's so awesome to see all of you. I've seen a lot of these faces at the staging ground. Well, thank you so much for supporting our local efforts. Really excited to be here today with you all. So yes, really excited to be joining the national rally for hands off rally on April 5th, this upcoming Saturday. It starts at noon. So I hope to see many of you there. I know a lot of you have reached out to us and asked us, where is CPIC going to be at? How is it going to work? Can we meet up? The answer is yes. We're going to be there. CP is going to have a presence. I'm super excited to be there with some of our, a handful of volunteers who are going to be supporting us at the rally. But essentially, we're going to have a table. So we were officially confirmed a table. Yay. So we'll have a table at the rally that you can come visit us at. And in the follow-up email tonight or tomorrow morning, you'll get a map to see exactly where you can find us or the tables, and you'll be able to find us around that area. I'll also be posting a Slack message tonight around more of the logistical pieces and also attaching the map of the event so folks know where to find us. And so I'm really excited to see some of you there. I wanted to also take this opportunity to announce a little bit of an update for tomorrow's. If folks are planning to join us tomorrow at the staging ground, we have also already secured dates for April. So you can for sure come visit us any Friday in April. We'll be there. Our staging ground will be open, and we'll continue to support our local organizers from the Troublemakers every week on Fridays. Tomorrow, though, specifically, we're gonna be supporting our local organizers. They have asked us to join Camilla Jaipal, who's going to be having a press conference tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So if folks want to join that at the Federal Building Plaza, they totally can to support Pramila. And that, again, is going to start at 11 a.m., but you're more than welcome to come to the staging ground at our Seattle office starting at 10 a.m. to create signage for that. They would like the signage to be focused on Social Security. And then also, if you want to create signage for Saturday, that'd be awesome too. So we're going to be there tomorrow morning starting at 10 a.m. Welcome to come by to say hi and to make signage for either of those things. And yeah, I'm really excited to see some of you on Saturday. If you have any questions, please email us at volunteer help@commonpower.org, and I'll put the email here in the chat in a second. But you'll get a map of the event in the follow-up email for tonight from tonight's meeting tomorrow, so that you can know where to find us on Saturday. So happy to be here and so excited to see you all very soon.
Awesome. Thank you, MJ. And MJ mentioned that, yes, we're going to be there in Seattle, but also I know that there are volunteers of ours who are actually gathering people in SoCal. And so if you're one of those people who live in those areas, I actually really encourage you to join with our volunteers. I know there's one happening in Los Feliz, in Torrance, and if that's something that you're interested in going to, feel free to email us. We would love to connect you with other volunteers. And they're doing the same thing. They're making signs. They've got a bunch of water and snacks get going, and maybe some CP gear and shirts that we've made. And so this is something that we actually hope all of you guys participate in. And it's really cool because I actually see in the chat that some people are going to the ones in Bellingham and in Texas. And I actually just want to pose, if anyone here is planning to go to this hands-off protest, which is national, it's happening all around the country, put it in the chat. All of our volunteers are so well connected. You guys have spent so much time together and are bonded, and you guys should just go to these protests together. Common Power, of course, will be doing the ones in Seattle where we are, but if there are people in the chat who are in the same areas, let's get you guys connected. Let's do that. Oh, this is great. I can see it going on the chat right now. Yeah, everyone pay attention to the chat. I see Alicia is going to the one in Boston. Karen is going to one in Madison, in Kentucky. So, people, if you are on this call and you are near those areas, there are definitely people going, and you should absolutely go on too.
What's the
And I
fastest
also
pass?
want to point out, Ben, you got it? No? Okay.
Sorry, we multiple people unmuted at the same time. But you're all good. So I also dropped into the chat like the link to the mobilize.us hands off for everything that's happening nationwide. So if you're not in Seattle and you're not in one of these places that our volunteers are going to, look it up and see if there's one near you that you can go to, right? Maybe you'll make new friends. Maybe you'll discover a community that you didn't realize was there as we all show up to this thing on April 5th. So definitely after the wins on Tuesday, which we'll talk more about, this is going to be a bigger deal than we previously thought.
Yeah, and feel free to talk up CP. I mean, the people there are people. So I know that, Ben, MJ, and I are a couple lovers will be at Seattle Center, and we're going to be talking about Common Power. But I mean, if you're in the area and you're going to your own protest, talk up Common Power. Get those people to join us. That'd be great.
Okay, I have a request.
Oh, okay.
If you're gonna, so two things. One, if you're going to any of these rallies in your area, please, can you take pictures of yourself at the rally, drop it in the Volunteer Voices channel so that everybody can see everybody else at the rally. The other thing is that if you're going to be in the Seattle one, the Seattle Center, come by the table, because sometimes people go to these things and they think about what they're going to get out of it, like what their experience is going to be. But you, as members of the volunteer community at CP, you have experiences that maybe brand new people want to know about. So come to our table, and there's going to be some people there, and they're going to be like, "What is this Common Power thing?" Because I will have just talked it up on stage, and then you can explain to people what this is. You can say, "I volunteered with them. This is what it's like," and your words are going to mean much more than anything that we can say. So come to the table and hang out with us for a little bit.
And I just want to say that was a very subtle note that you just said, but I think Charles will be speaking at this protest. So if you want to see Charles, you guys should definitely come. So he didn't mention a lot, but it's happening, I think. Yeah, and I also want to mention, and this is coming from Team Wisconsin, but I know a bunch of us stole these leftover little flags from the Judge Crawford race, and so I know they will be holding these up. So if you see anyone with these little plastic banners, that is definitely common power. I know they stole them, and there's only a handful of people who could have
Earned
done that.
them. Earned them.
Earned them. That's a
You
better.
earned them. Can I get one? I'm gonna wave it on stage. Can I get
Oh
one to
yeah,
bring on
yeah.
stage?
I have multiple. I have so many. Don't you worry.
You stole more than your share?
I was given by other
Oh,
volunteers, and they offered them freely, actually. I'm saying not stole, offered freely. Yes. We gave back the metal parts. That was the important thing.
oh,
Okay.
good. Yeah, I was really worried about that on the airplane. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So now you just heard so many reasons of why you guys should be going to this protest. And so we hope we see you guys there, and we hope you guys find each other across the country because there's so many of you guys out there. So yeah, we'll see you
Really
there.
quick.
Hmm?
Sorry. Someone asked in the chat since you mentioned it. They were asking Charles if he knows what time he's gonna be speaking.
I do not. It's from 12 to 3, and they want me to just hang around. So I think they intentionally haven't told me the time. It's either gonna be at the very beginning or at the very end. Okay. Basically, Jay Inslee, Patty Murray, and Pramila Jayapal are going to speak whenever the hell they want to, and I'm like the warm up act or the janitorial service at the end. So I don't know. I don't know.
You're gonna have at least three
The
of your staff members
funniest,
rooting for you.
the funniest thing you can do is actually do better than them, Charles. So, especially if you go first, set the bar high so they can't reach it, man. Or
Booyah,
top them
booyah,
at the end. Easy.
booyah. They were not in Wisconsin knocking on doors, and we were.
That's right.
Okay. All right, we're
Easy.
winning. We're already winning, bro.
Easy.
As soon as I pull up
That's
the
right.
banner, come on, come on.
Easy.
That's it.
It's in the
Yeah.
back.
You have to say that Susan Crawford handed this to you herself.
First, she wept on it. First, she wept
Yeah. Yeah.
into the
There's
banner
tears dried on there. It's not rain, it's
and then
tears.
handed it to me. That's right.
Okay. Well, now we have all these incentives to go see Charles, maybe or maybe not go speak at this protest. We hope so. If you do, you'll have at least the three of us rooting for you. And so let's make it 4 or 5 or 10. So come join us out there. Okay. Besides the protest on Saturday, we've got lots of things lined up for this next week. The first thing I want to point out is that it is finally Action Academy April. There are so many students here with us, which is so exciting, and we're going to have hundreds of students joining us through Action Academy next year, and we got to pay them. And so we're hosting a series of sessions and meetings, and so we hope that you guys attend them and come learn about 2025's cohort. As NJ mentioned, we'll continue on with Federal Building Fridays. You can come make signs with us, get coffee, get a potty break, very, very important, and join in the protests that are coming on Fridays, and then also come make signs and come back next day on Saturday. And so this weekend, action-packed with protests. And then the next week, starting on April 8th, we're going to start the new Institute course, the U.S. Civil Rights Movement, with Dr. Hassan Kwame Jeffries. And so I know this is like a 2 or 3-parter, but it does start, or it has started maybe already, but the next one's going to be April 8th. That's going to be with the Institute. Those are online, and you can join those. And something that's really exciting, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, is that CP is now coming to Colorado. I hope you guys have been following along. We've been going to Chicago, LA. We did a little bit of pit stop for Wisconsin's for some random reason, and now we're going to Colorado next week. And so if you are in the Denver or Boulder, Lafayette area, absolutely come join us. We want to meet you guys in person. We had a great privilege of meeting Leslie and Kim, who joined us in Wisconsin, and I hope to see them also in Lafayette and any others who are in the area. And then lastly, on April 16th, we're going to have a screening of Barber of Little Rock. And this will actually be virtually and also in person, I believe, at our office. And so I don't know if anyone wants to expand on that, but it'll be happening simultaneously. If you can join us in person or you just want to join us online, we will be having that screening. So that's super exciting. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the big stuff. And I think this says it all. I think we don't need any more analysis. This is it. This is what we've done. We did it, guys. This was sent to me by a volunteer. It was sent in the chat by a volunteer, and I was like, this is the perfect analysis for this entire election. And I don't think we need to say any more. But we're going to. So I'm now going to pass it off to Bin, who is going to share a little insights from our team leads and share stories from the field.
Hui and I are gonna tag team on this, but first of all, Jessica, I'm gonna ask you, can you stop share real quick? Just stop
Okay.
share real quick. Yeah, thank you. And please raise your hand, like using the Zoom or your physical hand, if you were in Wisconsin last weekend. All right. Yes, that's right. Put those hands up. Keep them up. Keep them up. Do the Zoom thing where you raise your hand if you don't have your picture on. Because what we want is that if you everyone else in the call, give them their flowers. All right. Put in the chat, emote, clap, whoop, whatever you need to do. But door knocking Wisconsin, Milwaukee was hard. It was snowing. It was cold. They really went out there. Um, and we didn't know we were gonna win when we were doing it, right? So it was like, what's gonna be behind every door? What are voters gonna think? How's this election gonna go? How can I put one foot in front of the other after defeat and what the Dems are doing and da 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 da, all of that. But these people did it. So thank you again. Yay! Okay, awesome. All right, we got some team leads on here for sure. I know Jordan, you're on here. Kendra, I saw you join in. I think that video right there is actually you, Kendra. So I don't know if you want your virtual you to say this or if you want to say it. But let me know.
Hey, I'm making dinner for my family over here. So I already put out a video. You can share it.
Beautiful.
them.
Okay, we'll just
Great.
play it. We'll just play it. All right. And then
Thank
Jordan, I want you
you.
to hop into with what you took away from this experience, man, and all of that. Okay, so let's start there. Kendra's one of our amazing team leads.
Hey, Team Wisconsin. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight to talk to you all at the meeting, but I did want to just send a quick message to let you know how grateful I am to have had a chance to work with all of you over the weekend leading up to the election in Wisconsin. And I could go on and on about how this is great for me personally and how I actually have gratitude for myself for taking the time to do this work and to kind of put myself outside of my comfort zone as a leader in a different situation like this. And I will say that, you know, as a woman, I've always wanted to see more women in leadership. And I even remember back when I was at Spokane Community College and Running Start when I was in high school, debating an older man about the fact that I knew there would be a woman president soon, and he was absolutely sure that there would never be a woman president. So here we were in 2024, and finally having the opportunity to make that happen, and it didn't. So I think having the opportunity to work this hard on getting a woman like Susan Crawford elected really means a lot to me, especially against someone like her opponent, Brad Schimmel. And I know, you know, as a mom and a woman, that I would sleep 1,000% better in Wisconsin knowing that Susan Crawford is going to be on the state Supreme Court for the next 10 years instead of Brad Schimmel. And that's really what matters here. The other thing I would say is I just am so grateful for everyone's hard work on this election. And it was wonderful to see how everyone worked together. I still don't know most of you personally, and I hope that I will get to know you eventually better, but I do feel connected to all of you because we work together on something bigger than ourselves. We do have differences. We're all progressives. And we do have cultural differences. We do have generational gaps. We do have differences in the way we communicate and work together and what our needs are. But I know that we can bridge those differences because we did it and we'll do it again. All right. Thank you. Trey, your turn.
Well spoken, Kendra. Thank you. Hey guys, it's good to see y'all again, even though not face to face, virtually through a video. But oh man, we did it. We did it. What else can I say? But we did it. Goodness, we helped Susan win the election. We really showed Elon and Trump that money can't solve everything. He put $10 million in their where? In the trash. In the trash and piled up with his Teslas. So it's crazy to say I was a part of something this big that I could tell my children and talk to my girlfriend about these perspectives. It's crazy. And the beautiful people like y'all that I got to meet down there, up there rather, it's crazy. My goodness, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to the volunteers. Thank you to the CP staff. Thank you to my teammates. Thank you to Truman, Kendra, Jordan. Thank you to all of y'all. Y'all are people that left a mark on me, and I cannot wait to canvas with y'all again and see y'all again. Truman, will you take it from me?
Thanks, Trey. I just want to second what both Kendra and Trey have already said. Thank you so much for being out there in Wisconsin with us. We had a wonderful time with all of you. We gave Susan Crawford a 10-point win for this 10-year term she's going to be serving now. For the next decade, you're going to be able to point to a justice on the Supreme Court and say, I bought her. No, sorry. You're going to be able to say, I played a very important role in getting her on there, not just in terms of the votes that can be counted, but I'll tell you, when we packed that WisDems office and there was media there from the New York Times, I think maybe also the Washington Post, and TV cameras, video cameras there, it changes the way, even a good campaigner, it changes the way any campaigner looks and sounds when they're in a room that is that jam-packed full. There is work that we do with our bodies, just being present, being on the ground there, that cannot be measured in doors knocked on or votes, that changes the energy of everything. So thank you for everything you brought to Wisconsin, and can't wait to see you on the next trip.
Can I just say those transitions were fire? Truman sent me maybe 4 versions of this, and I've seen them all, and this one was the best one.
Wait.
Let's do a smooth transition to Jordan. Now pass it to Jordan.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Now I'm a little disappointed I didn't get in on recording and you all just get me live. But one of the things that I love, and you all can see my assistant lead here, but one of the things that I love is every time we have gotten a canvas or been out, Charles, Ben, Marcy, Jessica, please always remind us that we're not just here for this moment. We're here for all of the moments that come after, and getting to be on the ground in Wisconsin, we actually got to see some of the benefits of all of the other times that we've been there and been in community. So people remembered when we've canvassed their doors before. Organizations remembered, like, hey, you all are with Common Power, like your volunteers just get to it. And I appreciate it, to the point that one organization says, one of the co-founders says, like, oh, you all are those John Lewis types, right? Like, I love it. Give me about 70 of our volunteers and about 20 of yours, and we'll be able to win this thing. And we did. And I think that there is no better bellwether for where things are going than what we see happening in the Midwest. Biased as I am, but we spend a lot of time in these places where they talk about, the working class voter in the Midwest. The working class voter in the Midwest, they want this or they want that. Well, we saw what the working class voter in the Midwest wanted, and it is free and fair elections. It is an intergenerational, like across the country coalition of people that genuinely believe that things may not be perfect, but that they can continue to get better. And so I'm continually thankful for all of the work and effort that people put in. You could not ask for a better team to have been on the ground with. All of the Action Academy folks that were out there with us, bringing a whole new perspective and energy, to the point that we actually got a pizza place. He just overheard us talking with some of our folks, and they started giving free things away. And he said, we try to be a place for the community. So shout out to you all for knocking on doors, for really showing like what the best of us is. And so as long as you all continue believing in this work, supporting this work, like dreaming that things can be better, we're going to keep winning this. And so I'm really excited. Huge shout out to Team Wisconsin, to Florida, and to everyone else who's been putting in the work.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Hey,
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, so Wisconsin was one of those state team trips where we're like, this is an experienced group. We've been doing this basically every year. We've been to Wisconsin in spring every year since 2018, with the exception of the COVID years, right? So we're like, if there's any team and any group to try out new things with, it would be this one. So we had a couple of things that we trialed in Wisconsin actually. And one of them is to open up our Fieldwork Assembly, an amazing speaker, Mr. Reggie Jackson, to the general public. And we could do better. I'm not gonna be honest. We could do better next time. One person showed up from Milwaukee. So next time that we do this, if we just get two, that'll be 100% improvement. Um, but it's a part of our effort to kind of like increase the common power footprint everywhere that we go, and not just to and just make sure that like we are present in with every part of our organization as we can and make full use of our time on the ground. Um, the other thing that we tried out, Jessica, um, was to have two kinds of teams on the ground. So unlike other trips, right, where it's one group of volunteers doing the same thing with each other day after day, we actually split the team into two, one for each partner organization that we were working with. So at the same time that our volunteers were working with Power to the Polls, figuring out our paperwork, finding out how to write stuff down on the clipboards and getting training with role playing and all of that, separately, another team was working with the wisdoms. And so this way we were able to like cover a lot of ground, learn from different perspectives and different ways that organizers organize. And as you can see, get to meet different types of people, right? So while we had a rally on Power to the Polls, we also had a rally at the wisdom's office, and Ben Wickham came down, along with Susan Crawford, I think one other time as well. So lots of really cool experiences on the ground here. Um, and I think that just kind of encapsulates that, like, regardless of the results or not, we try to build an experience that will stay with you when you leave. And I think the win, the celebration, and like us coming together in the community after the fact is just another layer on top of a very sweet cake. So I think I'll pass it now to Puya about like, okay, man, we did win, right? Like we straight up won. So like, what does that mean? What does that mean now?
That's great. Thanks, Ben. Jessica, do you mind clicking a couple slides? Yeah. Y'all are familiar with these maps? It hurts me to my core whenever I see this. It is horrible. And it is one of those things that it's just like from 2024, just looking at the map and how everything seemed to be shifting to the right, and then on the left, you also see how Wisconsin, which was the closest state in 2024 election, also shifted to the right across the state. And can you click one more time, Jessica? The anecdote to that is this. This is beautiful. This is awesome. This is absolutely amazing. And it shows that how much can change in a matter of 4 or 5 months. We have seen the shift in the energy of the country across the board. And this was the first big test for our side, the left generally, to see how we will do in an election. There was a lot of anxiety, how people are going to show up, and people showed up big time. Can you click one more time, Jessica? This is the change in turnout from 2023, which was another Supreme Court election. And in some ways, you could argue that it was a bigger deal for voters, perhaps, to show up because we had the opportunity to get the majority in 2023, and this was to retain it. So chances are that people are actually thinking about it and going out there to vote, some cases more. But you can see that across the board, we had uh, between 5 to 15, 20% more turnout in these areas across the state. In fact, the city of Madison had a higher turnout in the April election 2 days ago than they did in November in 2024. So you can see that there is a shift in turnout. And I know Charles and David on the Monday call, they were talking about how if we get higher turnout, there's a higher probability that we might actually not do so well because we also get more infrequent voters who tend to be more red. But this year we had almost a midterm level turnout and we still won with a 10-point gap. So if you can go to last portion of this slide, Jessica, this is the shift across the board from 2024 and then comparing it also to 2023. You can see that Susan Crawford actually flipped 10 counties from the 2024 election. We will be sending all of these visuals out after the meeting, so I know folks are trying to zoom in and pay more attention. But you can see that across the board, we showed up where we had to show up in those blue areas like Madison and Milwaukee. But we also flipped areas where we really had to show up big to be able to make this a 10-point gap. You can see, for example, Green Bay is a huge one right there, where we're able to flip that county. So across the board, really proud of the team that was out there knocking doors in Milwaukee, making sure that our voters in the big cities show up. But at the same time, you can also see the shift across the state, which reflects generally the sentiment across the country as well.
Awesome. And I'm actually going to go back one more time because someone requested to see the red, and it's just nice to see that evolution. It's just nice to see. So I'm going to go back one more time so everyone can look how heinously red this was. So take a screenshot if you need it here. But then, look how blue it is. It's so nice to see. And it feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah, and I'll just add one more point that every single county shifted to the left. It was not just like some shifting a little bit, or like every single county shifted, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I
Hey,
had
can I
such a
just comment on that real quick?
yeah.
Booyah. So
Yes,
I
of
mean, this is
course.
like one quick piece of analysis for people to chew on. So if, to your point, if turnout was higher than um, than in previous races, so like presidential levels, right, or midterm levels. So high turnout also with this amount of blue. That means it's not just about who you turn out. Like we were changing people's minds. Like people's minds, voters' minds have been changed about Trump, about this country, about what their vote means, all of that. This is not a just getting certain kinds of people to vote. This is voters are shifting. And I just there's no, I mean, I have no more to that other than this data here. But that's something to look for in the next few elections and in voter behavior in general, whether it's like registration or advocacy or whatever, is that people are now they're driven not by the promise of what Trump said he would do, but what he has actually done over these past few weeks. And it's like night and day. And that's what you're seeing here.
Yeah, and like once again, in 2024, Trump won the state by about 30,000 votes. And on the flip side, Tammy Baldwin won the state by about 30,000 votes, 25,000, give or take. So when you see that shift of less than 1% to about a 10% gap, it is something beyond just, oh, we were better at turning out our voters. Yep. Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks, Booyah. And I'll just say, just being there on the ground, I feel like this has kind of added just a little bit more fuel for me. I mean, I think a lot of us had a hard time recovering after 2024, and I can't tell you how good it felt to be with our community experiencing this first really big concrete win of 2025. And so I think, at least for me, it feels like this is the first of many for us. And now we're going to head over to Florida, which has some interesting results, and I'll have Puya take it again.
All right, great. So we have been talking about this idea of going on the offense, taking the fight to them, and showing up in every single House election that comes up in 2025. And Florida had the first two elections, and we showed up. We are going to invite several of the folks who live there, who canvass and led the teams out there, come on and talk a little bit more about their experience in a minute. But to just give you a sense of how big of a deal this is, that in Florida one, Trump won this essentially the district by 37%. That is a solidly red district. That is like there's no way around it. And we decreased that margin by 22%. It is not a few percent. Like when you flip, like when you change it by 22%, it is something bigger going on. It is not just like, oh, it was a bad candidate, and that they didn't show up. It's like 22%. It's a big deal. We still didn't win the seat, which we knew it would be a very long shot, but we still were able to decrease it by 22%. In Florida 6, once again, the margin is 30%. Now it's about 14%, decreasing by 16. And now in the US House, as of right now, we need only 3 seats, right, to flip the entire US House. There are 60 Republican seats that won their seat in 2024 by 15% or less. 60 seats. 3 seems very much a possibility in 2026 right now. And that is why Elisa Stefanik's nomination to the UN was pulled, right? And that was pulled even before the results came out because they knew a Trump plus 20 district is not going to hold up, especially with the tariffs being upstate New York being close to Canada. So this is a huge deal, not because of the results on their face and their surface level, but it's also because it's a pattern that we're seeing across the country that we'll talk about in a minute. But we are seeing this shift that out of the 16 state legislature or congressional special elections this year, Democrats have been performing better by about 11.5% compared to 2024. So when you see these patterns build up, it's beyond just a bad candidate, turned out, things of that nature. There's a huge deal.
Wait, I want to add something to that. Go back to the previous slide, Jessica. So I think just to add more onto the point about like turnout and how things are changing, and like I don't think this is a pendulum swing that we're seeing, right? Where it's kind of like the natural cycle of politics, right? That you expect people to swing back after you vote a party in with like, especially with a trifecta. Like I think we're seeing something different on the ground. And to be able to get this kind of margin in these kind of districts, you need to have Republicans vote Democrat. You're not going to have, you're not, and it's not by turning out more Democrats. Even if you turn out 100% of all the registered Democrats in these districts, you're not going to get these types of margins or be able to win or like, lose by less like this. So for example, right, the 6th district is 49% Republicans and 25.5% Democrats. And so what we're seeing here is that Republicans are switching their votes based on what they've experienced in the last 2 months under the new Trump administration. And it's something that like reminds me of something much more existential and like deeper than just like, oh, I want to change up the status quo. I voted for this side, and I'm going to try voting for that side just to see what happens, right? Like it reminds me of like how these people are feeling threatened for the first time in a really long time. Like their money's being threatened, their quality of life is being threatened, like their families are being threatened, right? Before it was on the fringes, maybe it was the periphery, maybe it was the county over, maybe it was the house next to theirs, but it wasn't their place. And now it is. And so the stories that we're hearing on the ground reflect more of that shift in people's realities and not necessarily just like, oh, the politics are switching the other way, because that's just how politics work.
Oh,
Cool. Okay. All right. So that was a little bit of the hardcore political analysis, but we can't go further without celebrating the people who got us there, right? Help got us there. You know what I'm saying? So I know we got some of the crew on the call here. And we're gonna line up and like describe what we're saying, but I just want to first of all highlight Miss Shanita, who I know is on this call and that I know is down to talk about what y'all went through, because let's be real, okay? Like we were supposed to go to Pensacola and help you out, Miss Shanita, and then halfway through we saw the early voting results of the Florida 6, and we're like, we need to go there instead. So instead of like, you know what, I'm gonna just go back to teach because Monday, Tuesday I got work. You were out there and you showed us, you took pictures, you took videos, and it was honestly so inspiring. So I don't know if you feel like you want to come on and talk a little bit about all of that. Like your picture is like right in the middle there for people who don't know you, right? And like you took out your family, you brought your friends, you didn't like stay home and all of that. It was amazing. So I don't know, Miss Shanita, are you here?
Okay, I'm here, Ben. I am here. Um, I'm actually here in the hospital, but I'm here. Uh, we had an amazing time. We knew that it was going to be a struggle, so the focus was less on um, making sure we just only secured a win, but that we boosted the morale. I was friends with some people that work with Gay Elements campaign, and so we knew about the concert that she was putting together. Because the biggest thing was bringing unity in the city. There was so much tension. There's a lot of tension there, and as you saw in some of the pictures that I sent at the concert, there was a lot of MAGA hats. And at first, we were wondering, okay, is there going to be some issues? We had the police presence was like tripled at the event, but what it was almost like they were needing an outlet too. So she had an amazing way of bringing the community together because a lot of the doors that we knocked on, one did not know it was a special election for one. So when we saw that, we knew we had to make sure that we got that word out. So um, making people aware and why sharing information that our teams had and doing things the way that we do it, CP style, um, getting out there, knocking on the doors, whether it's in apartment complexes, being in places where people question who you are for one and why. I had a lot of doors that was like, well, why? Why do I need to vote? They're going to put whoever they want to in. And then having that ability to break it down, whether it dealt with them, with education, with me, I could speak to education, and a lot of the kids in some of those areas went to our school, talking to them about, Social Security. So we spoke to what mattered that most people did not think would hit home for them. Because that's a lot of things. Well, why should I vote? Because it has nothing to do with me. So as we kind of set that mindset, my team, Kelly's team, Margot and her husband was on the ground the first weekend. Um, it was they just saw a lot of the everybody coming together. You know me, I love flipping mine. Had a elderly lady that said she had told her daughter she's not voting anymore. And so I did. I broke the record and I went inside, sat down, and we talked. And I reminded her, I said, your Social Security, your children's security. And we just had that conversation. And by the end of it, she was like, I'm calling all three of my kids and we are all going to the post to vote. And that's what we had. We had a lot
You
of
want your
people.
hot sandy?
Um, but anyway, we had a lot of families. So that was the biggest thing is seeing groups coming out to vote, families coming out to vote. And that was the thing. The biggest thing for us was flipping Escambia County from red to blue. And if nothing else, because, I recognize some of the disappointment on the fact that our candidate didn't win, but then I explained to them, but let's look at the bigger picture. Not only did we flip this county, which hadn't been done like that for decades, from red to blue, we sent a signal, at least in Escambia County, we're not down for that. So I know a lot of people who voted um, for Trump crossed the aisles, and it was evident in places that we were in, and even the reception of people having being willing to talk. So that was amazing for me to see that she's not stopping there, but for those in Escambia County that think that that agenda is going to come there because our mayor um, is being hit with some things that our governor is requiring. That's MAGA style, and like I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna stop. University of West Florida, uh, the governor wanted to put someone in charge that carries strong Trump values, and the city came out in droves and they shut it down. So that's what we are. People are tired, and people are ready for truth. So
Thank you, Miss
that's my
Shanita. Thanks for finding time and joining us on this call too. What you're doing there is amazing. Can't thank y'all enough. All
thank you
right.
too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Miss Shanita as well as Kelly, who's not on this call, but they were helping lead Weekends of Action down in up in Pensacola, the Panhandle. But we also had another team down in the Florida Six, which is where we staged it in St. Augustine. And so I don't know, I want to invite Lily to speak. So both Lily and Greg were the team leads down there. And I think Greg's on this call, but Lily, I want to invite you first if you're here. Because you recruited for this. Like you went to Flagler College and you got friends and you got people to door knock too.
I think you're on mute, Lily.
I am. That's true. Hi guys. I did in fact go recruit people. It was my I have some campus leads down here that I'm kind of menteeing for fellowship through CP, and they are amazing. They're doing so much good work here. We've gotten so many students to be engaged, and they obviously jumped at the opportunity to come and canvas. I also got another poli-sci student from Flagler to come. They were really interested in CP and just wanted to see what it was about, and they really enjoyed it. I know Abby and Aria did too. It was a really cool weekend, and it was nice to just interact with like the different kind of CP people and also volunteers. Greg is amazing, and it was good. I think a lot of people didn't know that there was special election happening. There were some people that were like, I saw a sticker at one point on someone's door and it's like, I voted by mail. And so they opened it. I was like, oh my gosh, did you like already vote? And they were like, in what? Like, that's just there because we vote by mail. And I was like, oh my God, there's an election and I bet you would love to vote in it so bad. And so, like, just getting to inform people, there's definitely some tough doors. We are in Florida, but no one was very rude, which I thought was a very kind of nice surprise. I think, like, being from here, you get kind of accustomed to not speaking about your political beliefs because you're like, I don't know how this is going to go. But no one was very rude. If they didn't agree, they're like, hey, sorry, like, I will be voting, not for that candidate, but like, keep doing what you're doing. So it was kind of nice to like see that part of Florida, I think. And also just being out there and like doing this work in my own community. Very grateful that CP sent their people down here.
Thank you. Okay. Just want to shout out to Greg who drove 2 hours each way,
Yes,
just to canvas with us every day.
Greg.
Oh wait, Cleo, was that you?
Yeah, can I just say this? We
Yes, go
gave
for
the
it.
option to Greg because there was another office, a dem office, very close, about like 30, 45 minutes from his place where he lives. And when given the option to go there instead of driving 2 hours, he chose to drive 2 hours so he can canvas with the CP community. So thank you. And 2 hours each way, y'all. So 4 hours of driving every single weekend. So thank you so much, Greg, and would love to hear a little bit more about your experience.
I was kind of personally hoping Lily would just do it all for me, but thank you guys. I don't need any kudos or anything like that. I appreciate Lily's leadership, her crew from Flagler, Logan, Aria, Abby, fantastic. What Common Power is able to do to bring in folks like the team from Flagler. Donna drove in from St. Louis, Missouri. I'll say that again. Donna drove in from St. Louis, Missouri. Greg flies in from Texas. Shai flies in from New York. We had Larcy from Seattle, Susan from Seattle. We had our South Carolina crew roll in. I mean, I just love the kind of different shifts we all took to try and get the job done. Weekend after weekend after weekend, it was like a three-pronged attack, and we did a pretty darn good job. Living in Florida most of my life, we drove through some neighborhoods and areas that I had never seen before it felt more like Alabama. It felt more like Mississippi. I mean, we were driving through hundreds of acres of collard green farms on dirt roads with like 10-foot ditches on a one-way street. I mean, we were walking over individual bridges to get onto people's properties. And the beautiful thing about that is sometimes you knock on a wooden shack and a 73-year-old woman opens up the door and cries and says, nobody's ever come out here and asked me who I'm voting for or what I think. And so despite some of the negative interactions you get from time to time canvassing, it's moments like that that really keep you, pushing forward. And so I would just like to express my gratitude and appreciation to everybody through Common Power, all of the volunteers, all of the donors. It was a good experience. We did what we could. The outcome wasn't, the result we wanted. I can't help but kind of think of Malcolm X's quote along the lines of, this isn't progress. If somebody sticks a knife in me 9 inches and pulls it out 6 inches, is that progress? Progress will be when we elect a Democrat or somebody that's going to fight for, what we Americans want. And so while we're not quite there, we'll still keep fighting. And anytime you guys venture into the swampland of Florida again, please make sure you reach out to me. I'm happy to help out in any way.
That was awesome. That was awesome. All right. And thank you all for sharing as well. It's not often that we get to hear your perspectives. Like y'all join us in the field, you're part of our educators program, we see your faces around, but I think it was an honor that like you all mobilized so quickly, hosted us in your own states, right? And then showed us the ropes of like how to move in your communities. And it's not something that like, I mean, speaking for myself living in Seattle, that I will ever like do or think about often. And it truly was an honor to just be there and then to learn a little bit about that and just be a part of that for a while. So thank you. Okay. All right, let's move on. Thank you. We're gonna be talking about, okay, we're gonna spend a very little time on this, okay? Because we're cutting up on time. We got other stuff that really exciting stuff to talk about. And if you want to know more about this, Charles will drop an podcast episode in the next 24 hours about this exact thing that he just did with Ahmed, okay? But the bottom line is that, dang, hey, April 1st was a lot. Not only did we win, but we get to witness a record-breaking marathon speech, filibuster, outpouring of the soul and heart, and sheer audacity of this man to speak for more than 24 hours at a time and then still go on MSNBC. Like, that's wild. So yeah, if you want the full download, Charles will drop something in the chat, but you can also check it out on our YouTube. But here we go, guys. We're definitely doing something. If y'all thought, and if y'all ever wonder what are we doing, April 1st gave you a couple of answers. Okay, next up, what's next?
That's exactly it. What's next? All right, I'm actually going to have Leslie come on because she's taking on a big role in this next couple of months. Leslie, if you're here.
Yes, I'm here. So quick warning, my phone's at 2%. So if I drop off, it's because my phone died. But I just wanted just to talk about New Jersey, Common Power is headed to New Jersey from June 6th to the 11th for the governor's primary race. Our virtual kickoff is this next Friday, April 11th at 4 p.m. PST. And I am happy to officially announce that we will be supporting Ross Baraka in his bid to be the Democratic candidate for governor. If you guys want to learn more about New Jersey, please come to our virtual kickoff on April 11th at 4, and we will have that mobilized link for you ready in the next couple hours. But lastly, I wanted to introduce our team leads. Team leads, just give a really quick introduction into who you are, just so that everyone can see who you are. Quick introduction. But our 3 team leads are Shadira, Simone, and Whitney. So if you guys are here, feel free to unmute and just give a quick explanation.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. I'm Simone. I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. I'm an educator and I'm 4th and 5th grade, and I'm excited for New Jersey, right next door. And it's kind of this was really inspiring just hearing about Wisconsin and Florida. I'm like just pumped up right now. Like it was really motivating to hear you guys talk about that and to see like the impact that we can really make. So yeah, I'm excited. So thank y'all.
Simone. Hi, everyone. My name's Whitney. I've been around Common Power for the last several years, and I've done work on Georgia and traveled to Arizona. And you may know me because I also do some of the trainings, the volunteer trainings. So I'm excited to be a team lead for the first time and to work on New Jersey. There is going to be a lot of attention on New Jersey, and so I hope you will join us there. I will be traveling from the Puget Sound region and excited to work with Simone and Chidera, who are more locally based. So I'll pass it to Chidera.
Hi everyone, my name is Chidera. I'm currently a student at Swarthmore College, so I'm in PA, but I am originally from New Jersey. I'm really excited to work with everyone for like the primaries. There's like a lot going on with our democracy right now, so like
Come
just
on.
like just like I guess to just continue working, like to have hope for like what the future holds. Just like starting with the primaries, I think is just such a very valuable thing. And I hope we'll be able to see you guys at the kickoff next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys. We're so excited. And I love in the chat that
Actually ringing the opening bell.
okay, that was random. But I see some carpools already starting to happen in the chat. And so that's just a sneak peek of the team that's coming up. So that's really exciting that you three are joining us. And then, Leslie, did you want to share for Virginia what's going to be happening actually almost immediately right after New Jersey?
I
Unless her phone died.
believe Jessica, yeah, I think her phone may have died, so I can just jump in about Virginia. We're also going to Virginia. It's our tradition, we're gonna be in Virginia in odd years, and similar to actually New Jersey, we're gonna be there in June 13th through the 18th. Their election is actually exactly a week after New Jersey. So if you're up for it, you can hit both states. They're right next to each other, short drive, easy. But if you want to learn more about why we're going, who we're going to be supporting, all of those, please join on Monday, April 7th at 5 p.m. Once again, April 7th, 5 p.m. You can come meet the team leads, all of that. And I believe we also have a few of the team leads here. Similarly, if you can just do a very quick, hey, who you are, would love that. But we got Olivia, Nini, Kelly, and Miss Faye, who are going to be team leads.
Hi guys, I'm Mimi. I'm from Texas. I'm really excited to meet everyone and hopefully see you on Monday where we get to talk about everything. But I'm super excited, and I'm an Action Academy alumni as well, so I'm really happy to lead this team with everybody else.
So, hi guys, my name is Olivia, and I'm also really excited for this trip. I started off with Common Power through Action Academy, and then got into fieldwork later on. And so I'm so happy to once again get to lead a trip. And I hope you all will join us for Monday.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly. I live in Seattle, the Ballard neighborhood, and I have two kiddos. I've been doing some stay-at-home parenting stuff. And then a few years ago, I was working with adults with eating disorders at a pretty high level of care and from like a health at every size and working on like anti-fat bias and things like that. So it's cool to find common power. And I've done Tucson and I just did Wisconsin and was with Nini. So that's fun that we're in this together. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
The last thing I will say, thank you, Nini, Olivia, Kelly, and Miss Faye is the fourth team lead who wouldn't be able to be here. Unfortunately, there's a tornado going through Indiana. Thankfully, she is okay. But that's the reason her Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty. But we have checked up on her. She is thankful doing okay. But that's why she couldn't be there. you can expect a message that goes out with all of this detail tomorrow as well on our newsletter with how to sign up for these kickoff meetings. And we'll have sign up forms, everything ready next week for you all if you're interested to join.
Awesome. And I think it's so great that Kelly and Nini were actually just with us in Wisconsin and you guys kicked ass and everyone loved you guys. And so I think you guys are going to be great future leaders for us for Virginia. And we have such a long history with Virginia. And I'm sure we're going to get lots of people who are going to come back and join us there. And so if you went, actually, I hope you still have your shirts because then we can save the number of new shirts that we keep getting from our partners there. But I'm really excited. I hope to be there. And yeah, and so that is what's coming up for Fieldwork. Those are the next teams that you can join. Puya already mentioned it. We're going to have the signups and the kickoff meetings all ready for you. And so we hope to see you there. And I know we're completely over time, so I'm just gonna quickly run through this last one here, and then we can just get to maybe some last minute stories and share us from everyone who's here in this room. But next weekend, I mentioned it earlier, is that CP is heading to Colorado, and I don't even know if we have anyone from Colorado on this call, but if you know someone who lives in Denver or Lafayette, you should absolutely have them join us. This is part of a series of meetups that we are doing between me, Ben, and Charles. We're meeting our volunteers in different cities across the country, and we're talking about what it would look like if we started organizing locally. And so we're starting in Denver on April 13th. Very casual coffee roasters place, get some good coffee, some snacks, and join us and, get to know us in person since we rarely get to go see you guys. And then we'll be also there the next day in Lafayette at the Nyland Common House Association. A lot of volunteers that help stand these up, and so we're excited to come see you guys. And if you are coming, bring your ideas about what kind of work are we been doing there, what partners do you know, what organizations, what's going on around you. And we're excited to kind of help get like a little hub going. We're excited about that. And so that is the last slide of the night. Thank you guys so much for staying on a little bit longer. And I actually think it would be nice to just, this is now the after credits. Ben, do you want to say
Wait.
something?
Yeah, I just want to point out one thing. The webpage for Hubs is up. Like it's
Oh,
live.
wait,
Yeah.
okay, let me click on it. I haven't even
Okay.
seen and I can
And
share
so
my screen so everyone can see it.
that's awesome. Okay, so the thing is, guys, this is one of those things where like we are truly in collaboration with community as we're going to these cities. And so in each city it's a little different. And we've been vlogging every city that we've been. So it not only is this page kind of like a reference point for people if you know are going to be in the cities that we've been or are going to, you can point them to this webpage and there's an interest form that they can sign up. They can also follow along in the vlogs about like what we're trying to do here, what we've accomplished, what's going on next, things that we're learning through the process, right? So this page will be live. It'll keep being updated. And yeah, the marketing team did a really good job on this
It
page.
looks
The
stellar. I
skeleton.
haven't even seen it.
And if you scroll all the way down, Jessica, it's an interest form. So if you know anybody in these cities, send them to this page. All right. We want to know them. We want to invite them there. And we want to make sure that like they get involved with us if that's something that they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say is that we're creating something right now, something special. I know last week we kind of shared a bit about our journey about going to LA, and coming out of that, we've actually got groups of people going to the protests together. And so that's what I mentioned in the beginning in Torrance and Los Feliz, just coming out of just an opportunity to be in the same room with each other. They are now taking that on and going to protest together. We sent them some merch, so they got some CP branding. But that's all it takes is that first touch and then to get the ball rolling. And so we're excited to go to Colorado. And I see Lori on here. You know that we're coming to San Diego at some point in the future. But yeah, we're excited and we hope to see you guys there. And I think we're officially in after credits now. We're done with our agenda. So if anyone just has questions or wants to unmute and share a fun story with us, this is now what the after credits is for.